Have you come across the concept of coma stimulation? I must just say before I begin anything, a disclaimer that mentioned in this video is not medical guidance or anything. Please check with your team before doing anything. I'm not going to be giving any medical information or tips, but I have noticed that the video that I created about how to help a relative who's in a coma has been attracting a little bit of attention. And so I was thinking, since at the moment I'm spending a little bit of time involved in drawing flowers and enjoying flowers, what is the connection, and is there a connection between flowers and somebody in a coma? And I discovered actually there is. The thing is that there are certain people who are going to visit somebody in the hospital and want to take a bunch of flowers. Sometimes it's a little bit of a challenge for those of us who are working in the hospital. Not that I work in the hospital any longer, but I did in the past, to go and find the appropriate container to put a bunch of flowers into. But what I wanted to mention is, if you're going to bring a gift to somebody who's in hospital, to put a little bit of thought as to what kind of gift you're going to be giving. Flowers are a complicated gift to bring. Although they cheer up the room and they can bring light and color and make it look pretty, the thing is, depending on the phase or the stage that a person's in a coma, if somebody's in the stage where they don't open their eyes and they hardly open their eyes, they're not really going to be seeing those flowers. So if you're bringing them with the intention that you're hoping that somehow they're going to be, during the time that those flowers are in there, somewhere near their bed, that they're going to be able to open their eyes and to see the flowers. So that's quite positive. The thing is, what I wanted to point out is, please be careful about the types of flowers that you take to anybody in hospital. And that's not only to somebody who's in a coma. There are flowers that have strong pollens. There are flowers whose leaves or grasses or the foliage that's put with the flowers might have a very strong aroma. And if somebody has allergies or sensitivities, you could be irritating them instead of bringing them joy. So put some thought into and time into what kinds of flowers you would be taking, and perhaps ask the staff first, ask the nurses, call up the ward before you go and ask, is it appropriate, is it suitable to be taking flowers? So if you're inspired to bring something that would be meaningful to somebody, whether they're in a coma or they're somebody else in the hospital, what else could you take that would be meaningful? I do have a couple of suggestions. The first one is a book that I created, which you'll find in the description below, and I'll put it into the pinned comment as well, which is a hospital visitors guest book journal kind of thing. I'm considering making a variation of that book, but it's a way for you to be able to leave a positive message, especially somebody who's in hospital for a length of time, to let them see who came to visit, what kind of positive messages did they leave, what thoughts, or something about how you found the person, how you heard that they were in hospital, some positive words for wishing them a speedy recovery, something that's meaningful, something that's positive, whether you draw a little picture, whatever you do. At some stage, hopefully, they're going to be going home again, and a lot of people do come out of their comas. And then they'll have a record, something to look back on as to who it was that came to visit and to brighten up their day. So that's one opportunity for you. And as I say, you'll find it in the description of the video, and you'll find it also in the pinned comment. Some other things you can do, but for this, you're going to have to check with whoever, the parent, the spouse, depending on the age of the person. Find out from their closest ones, or if you are the parent or the child or the spouse, then hopefully you're going to know the information. But be careful of any allergies for this one, and that is that often when one's in hospital, one's skin can get very dry, and a lovely thing to do is to bring hand lotion or body lotion. Lip ice or Vaseline is another thing that's very appreciated for most patients, especially somebody who's in a coma. When their lips become very dry, it's quite a gift to put some lip ice on their lips for them. Ask the nurses what's available and what you can do to help them, because the mouth becomes very dry, and those people who come out of a coma often will say one of their first complaints is, while in a coma, there was nothing they could do to ease their dry mouth. So ask the nurses what you could do, or remind the nurses to put on something for you. Speaking of the nurses, and the same would go for an occupational therapist, if you're in touch with an occupational therapist, and if there isn't an occupational therapist involved, then perhaps suggest to the doctor to refer, but to ask them what might be helpful and beneficial to the patient. It could be they need a hairbrush, it could be that they need a flannel, it could be there's a specific type of moisturizer that's of benefit to them, or perhaps a pair of pajamas. And then there are other things that could be of benefit depending on the attitude of the doctor in charge, and you'll have to get permission for this. Be in touch with the team and find out what might be of benefit to the patient to help to ease their situation. Something else, obviously, that is benefit to anybody would be a book of Psalms, of Tehillim, and just sit there and say some prayers, say some Psalms at the bedside of the person. It's just a couple of thoughts. If you have any other thoughts, then do share them in the comments below, but always check with the doctors first as to what's appropriate, what might be a contraindication, as we say, and what the allergies are of the person, because if you're going to bring something with certain strong chemicals, some hand lotions have certain ingredients in more and more that are being put into even regular hand lotions, so make sure that anything you're bringing in is going to be completely appropriate for the sensitivities and for the needs of the person. But these are some things that can definitely assist them. And if you're having questions, I'm intrigued as to what inspired somebody to subscribe to the channel related to that video of coma stimulation, or of what to do with a relative who's in a coma. I'd love to hear from you, because there haven't been too many comments on that particular video, and let me know what your questions are. I'm not working with patients any longer directly. I'm more focused on doing my art and writing books. But if there's a book or a workbook that could be of benefit, or there's another video that I'm able to do, then I'm happy to do so. And maybe it would help you or answer some questions. So I hope that answered and gave you a couple of ideas. And I look forward to chatting in another video. Ciao for now.